chords. Now, the way I've got this titled in my book, it's book 2, beginning rock guitar. Um, I, I say the C, G, D, A, and E chords, unscrambled, spells the word caged. So you think of the word cage, C-A-G-E-D, but this is C-G-D-A-E. And what I mean by that, caged is the whole concept of learning the whole fretboard, like playing one chord, like a C chord. Now this is really a D chord because I've got the capo on the 2nd fret, but you're using a C shape, and then to play the same chord at the 3rd fret with an A shape, meaning an A chord shaped, moved up and barred, and then a G shape, meaning a G chord, barred, but we use the pinky on the bass, and then a E shape, which is like the E chord shape, moved up, and then the D shape, which is like a D chord shape, barred up the neck, and then you get to the C shape again, 12 frets higher. So it's like full circle, and you're playing the same chord in 5 different places, counting the open string, 6 different places, but it's the same chord an octave higher. But the cage concept you can use with scales. And then, sorry. And then that's pentatonic scales, and you can do diatonic scales as well. So it's a concept that you'll get into later on. It's more like 3rd book level at the end of the 3rd book and going into fretboard theory. But it's kind of good to look at the basic strumming chords of caged, which are the 5 chord shapes that are major chords on the guitar. And they're the primary major chord shapes. If you played them in the order of caged, it's C, A, G, E, and D. And this song, Hey Joe, uses those chords in a different order. C, G, D, A, E. Okay? Now, first of all, you should listen to Hey Joe. I would recommend 3 versions to look up on YouTube. The one that probably most of us know is the Jimi Hendrix version of Hey Joe. It was on his first album, and it's just a knockout. I mean, it changed the course of rock guitar forever when that came out on the radio. And that would have been late 60s. And then listen to the original that Hendrix took off from was by Billy Roberts, and his version is on acoustic guitar. And I really just recently discovered it myself, like in the last maybe 5 years ago. One of my students pointed it out to me. There's this Billy Roberts version. I knew of earlier versions, but not that one. And I thought, well, that's Hendrix got it from his guitar style, you know. And so his style was, he was doing a lot of the same licks. I mean, he invented the licks, but Hendrix did a lot of the same licks from Billy Roberts, but took them up a notch, you know, with the electric guitar. And then listen to a version by, and it was the first one I ever heard when I was 10 years old. I had it on a 45 record by The Leaves, you know, like Tree Leaves. They were a psychedelic band, and they did it really fast. They went like... Hey Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? And we thought it was me and my friends had, I mean, more than one of us had it on a 45, and we just thought it was the coolest song, you know, singing about shooting your old lady with a gun, you know. I don't, it's terrible, but, you know, but that was what was cool about it. It was so, you know, shocking, kind of, you know, compared to, you know, songs by Bobby Sherman or something, you know, like that you would hear around the same period of time, or even, you know, Herman's Hermits or any of those groups, you know, that were mainstream rock, you know, very doing just romantic songs. But Hey Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Well, I'm going to shoot my old lady because she's been messing around with another man. So you know, I don't. It's nothing to laugh about, okay? But it's kind of a PG-rated song, I would say. But we thought it was so cool because it was, you know, it was like, you know, daring kind of lyrics for the time, especially late '60s. So anyway, so we have got the nuts and bolts about the chord changes. Try to really drill these chord changes and get to, you know, if you have trouble like going from G to D, and I would recommend G with third finger in the bass, second finger, and then pinky on the first string. I would not do this kind of G with second finger in the bass and third finger on the first string, because going from C to G, you can just move 2 and 3 over and add the pinky, and you may have trouble with that shape if you're not used to it, but I would highly recommend getting used to that shape and learning it. You can do so much more with that G shape than with this G shape. And why do this from C to G when you can just sort of move it over, move it across the street? You're moving 2 and 3 across the street and then adding the pinky on top. So very important to learn that shape. I would highly recommend it. Now, the next thing to talk about is the rhythm. And what we're doing here for probably the first time in my beginning rock guitar books is that we're going from one level of counting into another and then back to the first level. So we're going from a quarter note level of counting 1, 2, 3, 4 to an eighth note level, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to the quarter note level, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, for the first 4 chord changes, the first 4 measures, it's the quarter note level. And then you stay on E for 4 measures, just that one chord for 4 measures, and you're doing eighth note level. And the eighth note is more of a driving kind of rhythm, and you build it up. You're building it up from low volume, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3, and build it up, 2 and 3 and 4, and then you're going into the quarter notes. So you have to learn to count and go from one level of counting into another. And the biggest mistake I see students making with this is that they go too fast on the quarter note level. So they're going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then if you did the right proportion, the eighth notes are going to be like just too fast. You know, that's too fast. So at least for the Hendrix version, it might not be too fast for the Leaves, but they're even faster than that. But anyway, you want to think more broadly in the quarter note rhythm, and don't rush the half note, because it's real easy to rush the half note and go 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Think broadly, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3. Now when you get to the A, I would count it like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and that'll help you get into the eighth note rhythm of the E chord. Now, so let me go through it. I'm going to go through it twice and count it the way I would have you count it. And you should try to be able to count it and play these chords. So it's ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, So I went ahead and went into the ending. That's, pretty much it, as far as learning these chords and doing this rhythm. This is a very basic version of Hey Joe. It's kind of an introductory version because the Hendrix is, that's sort of the Hendrix version. I do teach that, and I do know it, but I wasn't used to doing it with a capo, and I was which fret, But anyway, this is a good one to jam with if you know the basic blues pentatonic scale. If you do it at 12 frets up, which would really be the 14th fret with the capo. So like. With the chords, it's kind of like some of the notes in the scale do not go with some of these chords, but it still works amazingly, and Jimi Hendrix solo is basically this blues pentatonic. It's really one of his easiest guitar solos to learn. It's like a that's sort of the part of the Hendrix version. Actually, the hard part about the Hendrix version is the way he does the rhythm chords. After he does the. I don't have it memorized, but I do teach it, and that'll be a later lesson. So have fun with this one. It will be challenging, rhythmically it's challenging, and the chords are challenging if you're still maybe struggling, especially with the G chord. and a G changing to a D chord is pretty tough, but just give it a go, and just remember to subscribe here to my YouTube channel, and like John Hedger Guitar Studio. It's late at night, folks. I'm almost comatose here, but like John Hedger Guitar Studio, my Facebook page, and like my YouTube channel right here. So, and like this video as well. I hope you like it. I stumbled around a little bit, but hopefully some good content, in learning these chords. And this, like I say, is a beginner's version of Hey Joe, but it's not really a beginner's. It's not for beginners. It's a little more advanced than first book level. So it's second book level, but a cool song, cool song to learn. So enjoy it, okay? So see you next time.